Well, more warnings on the economy tonight, and we are not just talking about the stock market that dove into bear market territory today. Food suppliers and McDonald's telling us prices are not finished going up, saying both ingredients and fuel will be sending costs even higher. This comes as inflation already reached a 41-year high, eating away at your income. And one of the world's most influential economists saying inflation at 9% or more is in the cards. Joining us now, Dan O'Donnell, radio host on iHeartRadio and News Talk 1130 in Milwaukee. Dan, is it time for President Biden to stop blaming Vladimir Putin and start leveling with America on what we're facing?
Well, given the fact that we hit a 30-year high in inflation exactly 1 year ago in May 2021, and Vladimir Putin didn't even start massing troops on the border until months and months and months later in Ukraine, yes, I think it's well past time. Look, I understand the political reality of Biden using the talking point, Putin's price hike. But I think the sad reality is that Americans understand that this is well deeper than just a Russian incursion into Ukraine.
And I want to play some sound right now. That's a point well taken, Dan, in terms of Carter versus Biden on this issue. I think we have the tape here.
Some of these efforts will also require dedication, perhaps even some sacrifice from you. But I don't believe that any of us are afraid to learn that our national goals require cooperation and mutual effort.
Make no mistake, the current spike in gas prices is largely the fault of Vladimir Putin.
So, Dan, why divert blame in this case?
Well, because this is a midterm election year, and Biden's party stands to lose an unthinkable number of seats in the House, and almost certainly will lose control of the Senate as well. That's to say nothing of swing states like mine in Wisconsin turning red in governor's races, state legislative races. Up and down the ballot, Biden has to think about the politics of this. I mean, if he sounded like Jimmy Carter and said, let's talk better mileage, you know what the response would be from the American people? We'd love to, but we're paying $6 a gallon for gas. We can get no mileage on that. This is a major political problem for Biden, and it's a national crisis. I mean, the fact is that people can't afford the most basic necessities, but he's seeing this almost in terms solely as a political crisis and is trying to do his level best to take blame away from him.
So, point well taken, Dan. We find ourselves in a situation where it's either higher prices or recession. You speak with people almost every day. You kind of have the pulse of America. What do you think your audience or people that you converse with would want to see? Those higher prices or a slip into a recession?
Boy, oh boy, that is the ultimate rock and a hard place decision, because the reality is roughly 50% of American families can't afford a sudden $1,000 emergency expense. Now, think about that for a second. With the average increase in fuel prices up somewhere in the neighborhood of 100% over 2 years, that's costing the average American family roughly $2,000 this year. They simply can't afford, and that's just gas, to say nothing of that. But if the economy starts to slow down, you're seeing stock market high flyers until the first of this year, like Tesla, even saying that they're going to have to cut 10% of their workforce. So Americans are really stuck between having to pay more of their paycheck or potentially not having a paycheck at all. I think, unfortunately, what we're likely headed for is a mixture of both, stagflation, because even as inflation rates start to go down, remember, that's just the increase year over year. Prices don't go down. Prices stay elevated. They just don't increase by the same amount. Unfortunately, the economy is starting to stagnate. People are stopping buying goods, buying services. And unfortunately, I just don't see a way around stagflation, the likes of which we haven't seen since the Jimmy Carter era.
Well, remains to be seen. Dan O'Donnell of News Talk 1130 in Milwaukee. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.